Increasing the federal minimum wage.
Bad idea.
Dead.
It's a bad idea. I've had every kind of rotten job you can imagine growing up and getting myself through school. And I wouldn't have had a chance at half those jobs if the federal government kept imposing higher minimum wage. Low-income jobs help people get skills and they can climb the economic ladder.
Since I have been so closely associated with the cause of the Contras, the big question during the hearings was whether I knew of the diversion. I was aware the resistance was receiving funds directly from third countries and from private efforts, and I endorsed those endeavors wholeheartedly. But let me put this in capital letters. I did not know about the diversion of funds. Indeed, I didn't know there were excess funds.
Why the fuck you lying? Why you always lying? Oh my God, stop fucking lying.
In case we have forgotten, because we keep hearing that 2014 has been the warmest year on record, I asked the chair, you know what this is? It's a snowball, and that's just from outside here. So it's very, very cold out, very unseasonal. So here, Mr. President, catch this. We hear the perpetual headline.
Mrs. DeVos, there is a growing fear, I think, in this country that we are moving toward what some would call an oligarchic form of society, where a small number of very, very wealthy billionaires control, to a significant degree, our economic and political life. Would you be so kind as to tell us how much money your family has contributed to the Republican Party over the years?
I wish I could give you that number. I don't know.
I have heard the number was $200 million. Does that sound in the ballpark?
Collectively, between
over
my
the years,
entire
yes.
family, that's possible.
Okay. My question is, and I don't mean to be rude, but do you think if you were not a multi-billionaire, if your family has not made hundreds of millions of dollars of contributions to the Republican Party, that you would be sitting here today?
Senator, as a matter of fact, I do think that there would be that possibility.
Will you insist upon that equal accountability in any K-12 school or educational program that receives federal funding, whether public charter, or private?
I support accountability.
Equal accountability for all schools that receive federal funding.
I support accountability.
Okay, is that a yes or a no?
I support accountability.
Do you not want to answer my question?
I support accountability.
Okay, let me ask you this.
To get back to me, if you don't mind, to explain the disparity in REO rates. Do you know what an REO is?
An Oreo?
No, not an Oreo. An REO. REO.
Real estate?
What's the O stand for?
E organization?
Owned, real estate owned. That's what happens when a property goes to foreclosure. We call it an REO.
Ever asked to see my birth certificate, they know that this is the place that we were born and raised.
Your administration just announced this, they rolled it out today, and it's going to affect millions of people across the country cutting Medicaid. I mean, is that a good idea, or is that a bad idea?
I think you're oversimplifying.
Well, I think it comes down to that for the people I take care of all the time. I mean, people I see in the emergency department that can't get primary care doctors, you know, once they got Medicaid, they could get primary care doctors. They stay out of the ER. They actually work more. They actually contributed to our community more. Now, if we tell those people, sorry, you don't get your health care, I mean, that's going to be a real negative in their lives.
Well, if you check out what we did when I was governor of Indiana, the Healthy Indiana Plan, which was the first consumer-directed measure that was given ever. We expanded coverage. We used consumer-directed health care. people were able to take more ownership of healthcare and expand it.
I mean, I think if the Trump administration and you want to expand Medicaid, that'd be great. But the problem is they're contracting Medicaid.
It's a matter of improving. I think Medicaid, is a lot of problems.
It's been a godsend to the patients I serve in one of the poorest counties in the state of Michigan. And I know people here who work in Des Moines, friends of mine who work in the ERC in Des Moines will tell you Medicaid is a godsend.
The fact that he develops weapons of mass destruction very seriously. I remember the fact that he has invaded 2 countries before. I know for a fact that he's poisoned his own people. He doesn't believe in the worth of each individual. He doesn't believe in public dissent.
It's 3 agencies of government when I get there that are gone. Commerce, education, and the, what's the third one there? Let's see.
EPA?
EPA, there you go. No, okay.
Let's talk deposition.
Seriously? Is EPA the one you were talking about? Or
No, sir.
You can't name the third one?
The third agency of government,
Yeah.
I would do away with the education, commerce, and let's see. I can't. The third one I can't. Sorry. Oops.
And this is about people who are for making a difference to save us and people who are against it and prefer money. So, Senator Rubio, can you tell me right now that you will not accept a single donation from the NRA in the future?
No, the answer to the question is that people buy into my agenda. And I do support the Second Amendment. And I also support the right of you and everyone here to be able to go to school and be safe. And I do support any law that would keep guns out of the hands of a deranged killer. And that's why I support the things that I have stood for and fought for during my time
there. More NRA money? More NRA money?
That is the wrong way to look. First of all, the answer is people buy into my agenda.
You could say no.
Number second, well,
Guys,
the influence of any group.
We're going to be here all night.
The influence of these groups comes not from money.
As I've indicated, the climate is changing, and human activity.
But you haven't told me why you think the climate is changing.
Well, Senator, the job of the administrator is to carry out the statutes as passed by this body and to comply
Why is
with
the climate changing?
Senator, in response to the CO2 issue, the EPA administrator is constrained by statutes.
I'm asking you a personal opinion.
My personal opinion is immaterial.
Really?
To the job of
You are going to be the head of the agency to protect the environment, and your personal feelings about whether climate change is caused by human activity and carbon emissions is immaterial?
Senator, I've acknowledged to you that the human activity impacts the climate.
Impacts.
Yes.
Scientific community doesn't tell us it impacts. They say it is the cause of climate change. We have to transform our energy system. Do you believe we have to transform our energy system in order to protect the planet for future generations?
I believe the EPA has a very important role at regulating the emissions.
You didn't
of
answer my
CO2.
question. Do you believe we have to transform our energy system away from fossil fuel to do what the scientific community is telling us in order to make sure that this planet is healthy for our children and grandchildren?
Senator, I believe that the administrator has a very important role to perform in regulating CO2.
You're in a state which is seeing a record-breaking number of earthquakes. You're the Attorney General. Obviously, you have stood up and said you will do everything you can to stop future earthquakes as a result of fracking.
Senator, I've acknowledged that I'm concerned about...
You acknowledge that you are concerned. Your state is having a record number of... Well, if that's the kind of administrator for the EPA, your state's having a record-breaking number of earthquakes, you acknowledge you are concerned. If that's the kind of EPA administrator you will be, you're not going to get my vote.